All right, so in this one, we are talking purely about the bank accounts that you're looking for, what you're looking for in a bank, and how to talk to that branch manager if you don't have a relationship already, and what the importance is of it. So first and foremost, I really just want you to sit down if you already have a business bank account. I want you to sit down, I want you to grab paper and pen, and I want you to write down why you are with them. Why did you choose that bank? Was it because of location? Was it because they're big? Was it because they're small? Was it, because there were no fees? Was it a relationship? Sit down and write, go back and think, why did you open that? Most commonly, the reason is people go to a big bank name because they feel safe and secure. Um, and the truth is you are going to be safe and secure with any, I don't want to make any guarantees here because that's silly, but banks are FDIC insured, and credit unions have something, I think they call it something different, but you are protected for up to $250,000 in an account in a bank. So you are protected in any bank. Just because they're a bigger name doesn't mean more safety and security. That's an illusion. That's an emotional tie. So if that's your reason, I want you to be able to recognize that and be very open to a possible change. By writing these down, you will be able to kind of help identify if it's really important to you to stay there and to figure out a way to stay there, or if it's just more of it's going to be a PIA to move and you don't want to move because it's going to be ripping off this Band-Aid and you feel like it's going to be a pain in the butt. It will be some work to move banks, but I can tell you with 100% honesty, I have moved personal and business accounts. It is easier to move a business account than it is to move a personal account for most businesses. I have moved business. Yeah, it just is. I've moved them from every size from, really small to a couple $1,000,000. And it honestly, it's easier than a personal account. So don't let that be a hang up for you. So once you've removed the emotion or at least identified why you're with your bank account, I want you to ask yourself do I pay anything for these accounts on a monthly basis? $5, $10, whatever it might be. Is there a minimum that I have to hold in that bank to make sure that I don't incur a minimum? And the truth is, if you have one big bank account right now, you may have a minimum you just don't know about because you always keep enough in there because you're holding all of the things in one place. You're holding taxes, profit, your owner's pay, your payroll, your expenses, and your income are everywhere. So you might have a minimum, you just don't know it. So please explore that with the bank that you're at, because we're going to cut these accounts down in size. You're going to be holding less in an account so that we have less disposable income for that purpose. And then also just ask yourself, do I have a relationship? Do I have a personal tie where I feel like I have to stay here? So if you have a personal tie and you want to stay at your bank, let me start here. If you have a personal tie and you feel like you really want to make it work, but they have amounts that they charge you and either a minimum or accounts, I want you to go and talk to that relationship, talk to that branch manager and explain to them what you're going to be doing, why you're going to be opening up more accounts, why it's important that they're free. Because if you're only paying $20 a month, you see it as only $20 a month, right? But if you're going to be having 5, 6, 7, 13, 17, I have one client, gosh, that's going to start adding up. I can think of a lot of things that I can do with $500 to $1,000+ a year besides paying for banking that I can get free down the street. So having that conversation and saying, listen, I really want to stay here, but this is the system I'm doing and I am committed to doing this. This is really important to me. I want to stay at your bank. How can you help me? So understanding first and foremost, how banks make their money is important, and they make it in two different ways. One is from the products that they sell, which could be their checking accounts, their savings accounts, but it's also credit card annual fees, mortgages, personal lines of credit, HELOCs, all of those kinds of things. The other is in the difference between what money they lend out, as a percentage on like a credit card or a loan, and the money that they pay out to somebody on something like a savings account. So that difference is another place that they actually make money. So those are the two main ways in understanding that. But the more money that you have in a bank, the better risk you are, the better client you are, the more that they can actually They've got at their disposable income to be lending out. So you want to just have that conversation and understand that they need you too. And if you weren't keeping money in there before and you were just cycling it in, cycling it out, not really keeping anything, you are now. So you are an awesome client that they should want to keep in their seats right now. So they have the power to waive these fees. They have the power to change the minimums if they want to in most banks. Again, it's typically the smaller banks, though, the community level, the credit union level, where they have that. And if they want to keep you, they can make that change. So start there. If they're not willing to work with you, though, and you've had this conversation, they understand what you're doing, they look at you and they just flat out say, hey, listen, my hands are tied. Then I want you to be open. I want you to look back at why you're with them. And I want you to be possibly open to change at the expense of your own business, and the expenses and where else that money can go. So, you have access to resources by my favorite banks, which I'm going to talk about here real quickly, and also the general listing of Profit First Professional favorite banks here within your email and within your resources. So these banks are banks that other Profit First professionals have either used, their clients have used. We found them to be very friendly with the system because there are no minimums and to be held, and there are no fees associated with at least one level of that banking, usually their lowest level, but it works for all of these accounts with the exception of maybe your operating expense as you grow. And that's something really to talk about if you are pushing through more than usually 150 to 300 transactions in a given period on that one account. So just to give you my favorite accounts and banks to work with are First Commonwealth, First National Bank, US Bank, Huntington Bank. Aslo is an online option. So if you are not tied to needing a local bank and you would lose the relationship aspect, but if it's more important, if you are 100% service-based online, there's, money's coming in, it's free, there's no minimums on that. They're a great bank and they're a great option. BB&T is another local bank, and then Capital One Spark Business would be another one that has some local, but mostly would be an online option as well. So Capital One Spark, though, is not opening new clients in most areas. So I like them. I like to recommend them, but they're not opening for a lot of people right now. So just be cautious or have that information. So don't get too caught up though. I mean, these are all great. So definitely research in your area. If you have one of these, I would certainly look into it, and call up and just interview those managers and say, hey, what makes your business banking great? And talk to them, ask them if they're working with the Profit First system with any other clients, or they know anybody who's doing it. And see about how much they know and see how they treat you as a client, because you want somebody, again, who looks at you that way, not just as another number. Please open your account here. See you later. Bye. So that's it. That's really the big stuff for this part here that I want you to understand. What you're looking for, why are you currently with the bank you are, what are your options, how to talk to your banker. Use those worksheets also to your advantage of exactly what you're looking for and understanding. And I know that they have the power to say yes if they want to keep you. So the next video, we're going to talk more specifically about the actual accounts, what you're going to be opening, what they're named, what their purpose is going to be. And that's it. Get those accounts open this week. So let's get moving.